Greetings and salutations. It is time for another edition of Fireside Chat Radio. I'm Jack Murphy, joined by Marshall Biddle.
Hey, Jack. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Hello there, Deacon.
Glad you got me out of the house. Thanks, Jack.
Legendary freaking Deacon there, folks.
That's it.
Yeah, he'd be doing a crossword puzzle if he wasn't with us right now. Hey, Larry Biddle.
Good morning. You know, this morning I looked out the side yard on 9th Avenue. There was little patches of sleet in this yard this morning.
All right, thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
And it's wintertime.
That's it.
But it's wintertime in the South, and so we've had strange weather. Yeah, it's cold, and then it's warm, then it's cold. Anyway, be a great time to be in the propane business.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Hello there, Jimmy Richardson.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, get close to that mic. It won't bite you.
Okay. Look, I've walked by this house at least 200 times, and I had to come to a radio show just to get invited in.
Shoot.
But it has been incredible.
That's how I got in here.
Yeah,
Right.
Isn't it incredible? I want to go in with Mr. Larry and sell tours of this place.
Hey, we can do it. Yeah, there's this thing's
Beautiful.
full of history. You'll love it.
Yeah, the
Yes,
first
sir.
time I came over here, they asked where was the lawnmower. So you didn't bring your lawnmower?
That's right.
Oh, wait a second here. Yeah.
Got to earn your way in, right?
Well, for those that may not know, Jimmy Richardson is the solicitor for Horry and Georgetown County, but we like him anyway.
No kidding. Hey, you'll love this, Jack. See, I see Jack all of the time at these Christmas parades. And so in the back of, now I've got a couple of stories about him. But in the back of one of those trucks, it's me and now my daughter Paisley, who is 9, my wife, and my son. And Joshua was a freshman at college. But when he was younger, we're riding through Conway. And a lot of the people on the street are hollering, "That's my lawyer right there. That's my lawyer." And Josh said, "I thought you prosecute people." I said, "Josh, just throw candy, son. Keep your head down and keep moving." They're going to figure it out.
Oh, that's great.
True
Just throw
story.
candy.
Yeah.
Just keep throwing the candy.
Smile and wave.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, they do the Christmas parade in Loris at night now, and it had always been at night, and they changed it up during the day, and I had just moved the studios and the offices of the radio station over to Meeting Street, where the barber shop is. So I've set up a couple of cameras right out front, take advantage of the parade route coming by the building, and this guy, he hummed a blow pop at the speed of light. If it had hit me, it would have blinded me.
Well, now that isn't the whole story. So we make the turn, and I'm always looking for Jack. So I'm hollering at him the whole time. "Hey, Jack. And
That happens a lot when I'm out on the street, Lawrence. Yeah.
But
Jack,
he
you owe
won't
me.
look up. So I give him, I pitch batting practice for the T-ball team and all of that. I give him one. I never aimed at the camera, but my life flashed before my eye because I said, that camera's got to be $1,200, and it couldn't have missed it. The lens by like a half inch, and it just cracked on that side. And I got the meanest
It sounded
look.
like a gunshot.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it hit that plastic, and I've never been shot. I've been shot at, but I've never been hit. That one sounded like I'd been hit. I was waiting for some pain or something, a burning sensation.
What a sweet way to go.
I gave him the look of
It was
death.
looked like he could have stabbed Christ. I'm telling you, he was hot.
Oh,
I
my
was like,
goodness.
oh my god.
Because I didn't know where it came from. And then I see
Then
you,
you
and I
looked up.
I connected the dots because I was in the zone. My job was to get the best video for the parade, and took my job seriously. You ruined that parade.
Well, all went okay. I mean, we didn't lose a camera.
No one
Didn't
lost
lose
an eye. It was all good.
Yeah.
Little battle scar for the camera.
Yeah. That blow pop didn't do too well though.
No.
It ricocheted off, hit the ground, and I never saw it again.
At Loris now, they don't even want you to throw out candy.
No,
You're
they
supposed
don't.
to hand it out. But I think that's just for insurance purposes.
Sure.
Because everybody's throwing candy.
Yeah.
They get to say, "Hey, I told them not to throw it."
Right.
and then everybody's throwing candy. But I'm telling you.
So when does a law not become a law? When is a
and-
rule not a rule?
And Loris, I mean, quick like and in a hurry. They, but you know, I understand it because you got a volunteer basically driving a truck, kids running everywhere. The only time I've seen it work the way it should work is the Merle's Inlet Parade took like 2 hours.
That's a boat parade, though, isn't it?
Well, the one on land.
Yeah, they've got a
I
cart
got you.
parade.
I got
They've
you.
got
Yeah.
the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's
by
like
the
a golf cart
time,
parade, isn't
Yeah.
it?
yeah,
Yeah.
by the time you get around, you got these kids that have just swollen up with candy,
Yeah.
and they want it. You got to throw it in their mouth to get them
Oh,
to
yeah.
even pick it up.
Oh, yeah.
They don't even care.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
I mean,
over with pretty
got
much.
old. Yeah. By the time, and I think they put me in that parade like right before Santa Claus. So I'm riding in
Oh, my gosh.
basically on his lap. 2 hours later, they're just
Yeah.
foundered with candy. And unless you're throwing out something besides lollipops, you got to throw out chocolate at the end of a parade because I don't even know if they'd move for that.
Oh, yeah. How'd you
you
lose
know-
your eye? Tootsie Roll?
Yeah.
You know, Jimmy, right here, not a block from the house, at St. Paul's Conway, which is where we go. We decided that we would have refreshments for anybody that wanted to have them: hot chocolate, donuts, cookies, everything. Right. So the church had been doing all this stuff, and our church, if the church fails, we can run a restaurant and a bakery and a whole. I mean, it's amazing. So all of a sudden, we realized no one was coming over to where we were. Okay. And it's a whole block. It's that whole block across the street from the Shine Cafe and the museum and the library and all that. So we had all this stuff. So somebody says, let's take food to the participants in the parade. And then somebody goes, yeah, otherwise we're going to have all this stuff. We're going to be eating it at the church for decades. So everybody, we got these trays. We started delivering food to the float riders. Water, chocolate, donuts, everything we had. I mean, every time a float came by, we were delivering, and it was amazing. So we said, you know what? Maybe the parade is about serving others rather than taking stuff people are throwing at you.
You know what I've taken from what Mr. Larry just said? You don't want to be a kid right down from St. Paul's because the parade participants are going to be eating instead of throwing candy.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to put a lull in it.
Right.
Yeah.
But what a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I'd rather run out. And that's a odd way of thinking because my wife is just horrified of the idea of, you know, these campaign events and stuff. If she'll cook double. Well,
Yep.
I'm of the opinion, cook half. Get there early, you know. And I don't want to take anything home.
Right.
So I'm with you, and I think we lose that around Christmas time too, about the service to others.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of needs right here in our own community.
Well, we really didn't stop the floats.
Mm-hmm.
We got in front of the old little chapel, which was 1910. We would start there, and we just followed the float serving. So it didn't slow the parade down. Our reinforcements just kept coming until they got to the other end. Then we'd start over again. So
wow.
it was strong. And you know what we had left? Nothing. Zero.
Yeah,
Not
by the end,
one
by the end of the
donut.
parade, the floats were throwing out leftovers.
Yeah.
Yeah, chili.
And they loved it. They appreciated, oh my God, water, because they're singing.
Oh, it is smart.
I mean, you're singing in the outdoors.
Mhm.
Guess what? It's not good for your voice.
Yeah.
And nothing to drink. I mean, it was perfect. So that's our new philosophy. Servanthood. It may work.
You could dress Marshall up too. That would be a nice
wasn't
thing.
there.
Yeah.
He wasn't there, but we've both been dressed up, so don't give him any ideas.
Well, when we invited the solicitor to come by, we didn't think we were going to spend the bulk of the show talking about holiday parades. Yeah, but that's fine. We all love Jesus here,
That's right.
especially this guy because he spends his Sundays on over by Baker's Chapel.
Yes, sir. You know, the Baptist, we have to, well, we get to go Wednesday night, Sunday night. There's always a deacons meeting in there.
Yeah.
You know.
Choir practice.
Amen.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's
You know,
tough.
and then
Obviously, I'm not choir practice, but
yeah, it used to be Mondays they would do visitation.
oh
You
yeah,
know, back in the day. So
that's when everybody would hide their liquor.
That's right.
Because the preacher and everybody's coming over, and
Well,
Don't
that
wanna have
communion
that.
is communion.
we do grape juice, Deacon.
Is that right?
Grape juice
Oh, do
and
you?
mashed bread.
Oh yeah, and the
Yeah.
little plastic. They don't even qualify as a shot glass.
Oh no,
It's like half a shot.
just in case somebody spiked the
Quarter shot.
grape juice.
Yeah.
But you know they fit perfectly in the pew in front of you.
Isn't that amazing?
Is that not the craziest little thing?
That
Right
is
beside the
almost like they
Broadman.
were made to go in that hole.
Almost.
Right beside the Broadman hymnal.
You know, I
Man.
was talking to somebody yesterday about how much stuff has changed. We had some producers that came in. They were doing a show, a documentary, which, you know, I'm not going to lie to you, I was very worried about because, you know, the guy, when they started Tiger King, that guy was living his life, petting tigers, doing
Yeah.
all of that.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, he's in jail. So
Right.
documentaries sort of scare me, but these guys were pretty cool. And I was telling them they wanted to go see the old courthouse. And there's so much history over there with the balconies.
Yep.
But you remember behind each seat there was an ashtray. So and the airplanes with the ashtrays.
Yeah.
I mean, could you
In
imagine?
fact, I still think that ashtrays are still on.
Many of them are. You're right.
On the flights now.
Yeah.
That even though there are no smoking flights, that they're still made, which is bizarre. But go on.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
They
But-
still have a no smoking sign,
Yeah.
believe it or not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But can you imagine going to jury duty now and the guy right behind you
Smoking.
puffing on a cool or a
Oh, you know, in the movies, you always see a smoke-filled courtroom. Back in
12
those days, they
yeah.
did. They
12
had
Angry
smoke,
Men.
and you know,
Yeah.
it was really
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know, I'm sure everybody smoked, including the judge. You think about, you know, the fact is that this was tobacco country.
Sure.
I mean, you know, when I worked for the McMaster firm in Columbia, John Gregg McMaster was not going to not have cigarette people. Oh, he didn't smoke, but he wasn't going to tell his people they couldn't smoke in his office. He's like, he was a tobacco lawyer. I mean, there was no chance he was going to say you couldn't smoke, you know? I mean, and we've come, gosh, full circle.
Well, now we're going back to parades because at the parades where I grew up,
Yeah.
don't say it.
we had Mule Days was one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You knew where I was going. But the cowboys would have like a little sling, and they'd come around and hand out little sample packs. It'd be a
Yeah.
little box with 5 cigarettes in it.
Right.
And chewing tobacco? Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So I did most of my Christmas shopping
right,
right, right there
My sister was the tobacco queen.
at the parade.
She was.
you know?
And I didn't smoke, but we had smoking. We had a smoking area at our high school. I didn't smoke.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I sure did. I sure did love tobacco because it was very good to me. I worked
Yeah.
in it, hard work.
Ooh.
Well, then they graduated to NASCAR. Everybody started getting free stuff out of NASCAR.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, man.
Yeah, the Winston Cup. And I still miss those days and
Oh, buddy.
the glory days of racing and tobacco. But how did a boy from, spending his Sundays on Baker Chapel Road, how did he get to be the head prosecutor for our neck of the woods? I mean, I remember when I met you back in 1989, if someone would have told me that this fellow I met here at a Blue Jays baseball game was going to be the solicitor, I would have laughed. I still laugh, in all fairness to you.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I tell you, when I started, I was with Judge Sidney Floyd when I got out of law school.
Yeah.
And Judge Floyd brought me in one day and he said, "Hey, I love you." My mom had worked for Judge Floyd. There wasn't but about 4 or 5 lawyers around Conway, and Rachel Allen was she worked with Rock Rankin, and Mama worked with Sidney Floyd, and there were 2 or 3 others. Anyway, he let me clerk with him, and I've known him since I was a little boy. But Judge Floyd, toward the end of that, he said, "Hey, you know my rule?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "I love you, but you're not going to be here but a year. You need to spread your wings. You need to go somewhere else. You can't just law clerk." I said, "I got you. I've been looking." He said, "Well, where have you looked?" I told him. He said, "Have you talked with the solicitor?" "No, sir." He said, "Well, I've got you a job interview, and you need to go over there and talk with Mr. Ralph Wilson.
Okay.
And I said, well, hey, when is it? He said, now, get up and go. So Ralph hired me, and then 6 weeks later, that was in August, Greg Hembry beats Ralph in the election.
Okay.
And I'm like, dang, I've had a job for, 6-8 weeks, and I'm going to be out, this new guy. Because the first time I met Greg, I had a Ralph Wilson T-shirt on. I was at the Harvest Hoedown.
Right.
Yeah. And, I was making my way up, which come to a sudden stop. But Greg kept me on and made me chief deputy a little bit later on, I think in 2010. And then Greg decided that he was going to run for Senate in 2012. And Nikki Haley appointed me. I was in a good spot at that time, but I always wanted to be a prosecutor. I just never expected to be the solicitor. But, it was a lot of timing, and a lot of the stuff like you talked about, I really accredit it. It wasn't fun at the time, cropping tobacco and, driving the tractor, but a lot of that hard work translates,
Sure.
And I say it all the time when the judges are up there huffing and puffing. Marshall knows this. He sit through a bunch of this, but I'm not doing that. Look, nobody's asking you to pick peanuts or crop tobacco. You're going to be cool. You're going to sit in a chair and just listen. It's all you got to do, When somebody hollers objection, figure out which way it is. It's fairly easy. So even if you have to work 35, 40 hours a week, we're going to be all right. Let's just get through this, So I think a lot of that come from some of the experience of the late 70s when you'll remember tobacco back then. I can remember the first time I saw a cropper, a machine cropper come through. It was just tearing the leaves all to pieces.
It was the work of the devil, man. Yeah.
Would have a heart attack if he wasn't already dead. There's no way that this should happen. But, I think a lot of that hard work carries over. It doesn't bother me at all to work, 50, 60 hours a week. And I'm telling you, it ain't so much me, but a lot of the new generation just ain't into working like that.
Right. Yeah.
So, but work is not a problem. It's a lot better than about to heat to death in a field.
Yeah.
A lot better than that.
Well,
Yeah, but
brutal.
weren't you a little intimidated when you first went in as far as even running for solicitor? I mean, didn't you?
Look, I could talk to a coat rack.
I know that.
Got a little bit of deacon in me. But the talking in front of a jury, again, that ain't the reading and the studying up on the law. The preparation's the hard work, but in front of a jury, it's fairly easy. The great thing about being a prosecutor is you're always telling the truth, so it's not very hard not very hard to keep a memory of it. As long as you know the facts of the case. I've done the other side, and that's tough because a lot of times your guy did it. You just find yourself up in a trial, and it's a lot tougher.
That would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the easy job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling what happened through witnesses. So, that's not bad.
Yeah, you're the pitcher, not the catcher.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's up to you to catch whatever's out there.
Yeah.
And that part of it really is easy. The political side of it, I'm not a real political beast. In fact, Jack and Deacon,
It's easy to say that now, but there's photos of you in a Ralph Wilson T-shirt campaign.
That's right.
They weren't cameras back then. Not as many.
Not as many. You're right.
But it's I've been in it since 2012, the end of 2012, but I've never had to run until this year. I've always been unopposed. So I've known about politics, but the campaign's a totally different thing. And that really is working you to death. Sometimes a peanut patch is better than, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
But I still love the job. Still love what I do. Still believe in what I do. The greatest part about this job is you can do the right thing, every time, and you don't have to go and talk someone else into doing the right thing. there are people that get charged with crimes that have no business going to jail. There are people that can be turned around. And we do that a lot through PTI and drug court and some of those things to make sure that their record doesn't get ruined, that they can be productive members of society. And we've talked about this before, but once you get something on your record, it is almost impossible to get it off. We can figure out a way to plead it through a YOA or something like that where it can be expunged. That's a little bit of work. PTI, drug court, there's very limited ways to get something off of your record. And for a person that has made it 30 years and has never been in trouble over a speeding ticket, gets in trouble with a conviction, that person for his 40s and 50s and 60s is going to have a real hard time getting a job. So one of the important things we can do is figure out if this is just a one-off, if this truly is a one-time offense, and we try to keep people a small amount of punishment, but keep their record clean so that they can go to work for UPS or FedEx or whatever else and pay taxes and raise families and do things like that. And as a defense attorney, I always found that I had to go to somebody else and say, hey, this is a great guy, this is a one-off. And depending upon their mood, the prosecutor, you may be able to talk them into it, you may not. Now it's up to you. You got to make the right call. But if you can make the right call, you can help a lot of people that way to stay on the straight and narrow.
Have you ever had any you wanted to hang?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, just real sarcastic jerks that.
Well, I tell you, Deacon, a lot of them. But part of it's growing up on a farm. Part of it is, 20-some years, 25, whatever it is, being in the solicitor's office. I've been cussed in different languages, so you build up a real thick skin. That's cool. You mad, as long as you're not throwing hands, get mad.
That's right.
But we're dealing with a real tense situation, so I don't besmirch people that get mad.
Right.
I'd probably be mad too if I had to come and meet with you in handcuffs.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You be respectful to them. There are people, not so much as to what they say, but people that aren't first-time offenders and are just doing it out of meanness. Yeah, I'd love to hang them. Mm-hmm. There's been quite a few of those, and we've done quite a few death penalties, which is the equivalent of that. If you're hurting other people just to be doing something, yeah, I got no use for you.
Yeah, right.
If you're doing it just to be doing it. If you got a drug problem, I'd just soon fix the drug problem. Man, I'll tell you something about people that are on drugs. When we built this we didn't build it, but Mr. Larry, we bought the old Conway Hospital.
Right. Yep.
And we refinished that hospital to use for our PTI, our drug court, everything else. The county administrator at the time was Chris Eldridge.
Yep.
And Chris jumped me on all different kind of levels about, you can't do this is going to cost. We've done $7 million to fix this on top of what you got in it. I said, Chris, we'll be in it and bought it for less than $2 million. And it's 3 stories and it's so many thousand square feet, Yep. No, there's no way. Well, what we did is went to the people that were in drug court and stuff like that, people that were in you can't have anybody that works. You always get people to say, why don't we have the chain game? You can't get anybody to work pre-sentence.
Right. Because
that's what gets everybody in trouble. But there's a bunch of people that are in the jail that are post-sentence. Mm-hmm. And they are out there in life recovery or something like that. So we went to those guys, many of them carpenters, and said, hey, you want to get out for afternoon? What do you think? And we fed them pizza or Chick-fil-A or steaks about once a week. Shoot, we had 30-some people signed up to come work. We couldn't use but about 10. But, man, they took out the carpet. They did all of that stuff. And we were literally in. I showed Chris Eldridge the bill. We were in for less than $2 million.
Wow.
And him talking about basically 7 plus the 800,000 to buy it, 8 million. We were in for less than $2 million.
A built-in labor force.
Yeah,
I mean, hey.
Yeah, but those guys, and what I was getting at is just the best people in the world with an addiction problem.
Right.
But the knowledge, the skills, everything that they've got, they were incredible people to be around. But when they were on drugs, man, I'm talking towed off everything, to feed that habit. So those sort of things really work out. There's some good people that get tied up in some bad stuff. And if you can figure it out and get them back to being able to live in society, get their family back, straighten them out, that's better than, locking them up and throwing away the key. Because the prisons, they trying to turn the prisons loose left and right. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So you got to hold that space for kidnappers, murderers, rapists, all of these people that are doing just incredibly bad things, and the streets aren't safe as long as they're out. But if you pack it full of people that you could help, there's a reason for the state to come in and try to save money by dumping the prisons.
Well, and the jail's a bad education too.
Yeah,
Once they get in there, man, they don't just sit around and play cards. They're teaching each some other guy when he gets ready to get out how to nail somebody else, or whatever. I mean, they've got some pretty bad dudes in there,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Especially at Lee, right up the road.
Yeah.
Lee's a tough spot to do any time in.
Yeah. You'll learn stuff you never knew was going on.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yes, I am.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Because you told me you didn't watch a lot of television.
I went to jail on a Monopoly board once. That's all. I'm telling you.
All right.
That's all.
Do not pass go.
That's right. I was
$100 to the free parking.
That's right.
Well, Jimmy, it really shows you when you take someone that's struggling with drugs or whatever their situation, and you help them find a niche, and that becomes their passion. They begin to turn their ship.
Amen.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Amen. And not to mention the fact that it's an entrepreneurial solution, which is a whole lot cheaper than anything the government can ever even envision.
It is critical. I mean, these guys, a lot of them, they're not perfect. They're like us.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that get involved in drugs really deep have, if it wasn't drugs, it would be gambling. They're very addictive personalities.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can reformulate that into work, man, you got some of the hardest workers you have ever found.
Yeah.
And they'll go out and become really good employees. And what we found through drug court is a lot of these guys that get it and get out. I got a friend that has put, I think he told me like 30,000 miles on his car hauling other people back and forth to NA and AA meetings.
Wow, I love it.
Yeah. So, once they get refocused, and this guy, he wouldn't mind me saying his name, but you remember Gene Floyd?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Gene was in real bad shape with
yes,
drugs.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
But Gene's a whole new man.
Oh, he is.
And
You're right.
I'm telling you, he is. He's helping other people to get clean now.
That's great.
Amen.
Really incredible.
Well, we're going to take a quick little breather here, get a word from our good friends at the Jerry Cox Company, and then we'll be back to say goodbye. Our guest this week has been the solicitor for Horry and Georgetown County, Jimmy Richardson. He will be back on our next edition of Fireside Chat Radio. I want to talk about budgets and the number of cases that you guys crank out on the next episode. Can you handle that?
Yes, sir.
All right. That's next time on Fireside Chat Radio.